allocated accordingly once we set all the budgets for next year. And a donation from our local resident as a contribution to the ash dieback removal on the village green. So that's two bits of income there. The only bit that's outstanding on income now is £9,000 of VAT coming from the shop building project. I'm still waiting for £9,000 from the inland revenue. Okay, so that's basically all of the payments side of things. Other financial matters, really, we're moving on to the toilet cleaning contract.
Yeah.
And you've no doubt seen the various bits and pieces I sent out and the eye-watering changes to that. Any comments, really? I need to set something up very soon.
I mean, basically, just to give the background, as Owen did in the written papers, obviously when we had the toilet transferred to us all those years ago, Sedgemoor obviously we opted to go with cleaning with Sedgemoor, and they did that at what was a very competitive rate. In fact, it was a subsidised rate in effect, because they were happy that we were taking the toilet off their hands. And they've kept that going all the time they've been there. Now, obviously, Somerset is going through all their contracts at the moment, so whether we'd had the new bill or whether we'd stayed with the old, we would have ended up with them changing the rates, because they're now re-looking at those. As you saw, the figure, I think, was the reduced figure 9.6?
Yeah, that was the reduced figure for the Sedgemoor contract.
Yeah,
but that was for 3 visits.
Yeah, so if Somerset do 3 visits, we're looking at 9.6. If we stick with 3 visits, with the other quote that we've had come in, it was 5.
It was 5.9, I think, wasn't it? And again, with two visits, it reduces to about 3.9. Yeah,
but
quite a chunky increase in budget.
But I think, in a way, I mean, from my own point of view, I think it's worth certainly trying the Monday and Friday cleaning twice a week. See that if we can operate on that basis, it would make sense. If we need to do more later, then we'll look at that. But it needs to be kept. I mean, it's going to be a good facility, and if it can be kept decent.
And let's be honest, the council's priced this and they don't get it.
I think that's right.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
The only thing I would say, and obviously I pointed out, because obviously it is in our financial regulations, we should technically get three quotes for these kind of projects, but to be honest with you, there aren't dozens of people out there doing this sort of work. You know, you'd probably be hard pushed to find a small cleaning company. You know, you might find a large one, but it'd probably be as expensive as Sedgemoor, as Somerset.
And certainly the lower of the 2 quotes, I think, is partly on the basis that they do current work in the village already, so they are here, which means they don't have that sort of level of overhead. So, what do members wish to do?
We've got the choice of 2 days or 3 days. What you're suggesting is do the Friday and the Monday, because that's the
sort of get ready for the weekend when it might get a lot of use, and then you clean up after the weekend when it's had a lot of use.
It seems sensible to try it, and if it's not working for us, to have a look again. It buys us some time, doesn't it?
And I mean, we're not entering into a long-term contract here, so it could well be we do this for a year and then we review what's happening with it at that point.
Yeah, that's it. I was going to say, because certainly in the old toilets, it wasn't terribly clean, and when they'd been in, it was like, good heavens, what are we paying for? I'm not knocking this any cleaning company in any way, shape or form, but is there any way that we can sort of say, well, are we happy with this, or the standard? It's like you said, it's all going to be new and shiny, and we'd like to keep it that way.
I mean, the other company that's quoted is to be open. I mean, they do the parish hall, they do the village school. They also do other schools around this area as well, so they are used to keeping things in a state which are right for.
They are. The only thing is that this, because it's open to the public, it might have a little bit more footfall.
Colin,
should we not be giving the cleaning company a specification to which they should work to? Because you can't just let someone, if you ask someone to go in and clean, they'll just clean to their standards. You want it clean to your standards. And so I think if you were to enter into a contract with any cleaning company, you would expect some form of specification to which they work to. And I think we can't just accept anything. We should ask them to work to a spec. But that's my view. You can make it.
The only thing I did say to them was when I spoke to Darryl, he asked me the sort of level of cleaning, and I said, well, basically the hall apparently this hall gets a very good reputation for the cleanliness of the facilities, and he said that they would intend to do these to the same standard. Now, you tell me, I don't use the facilities here, so I don't know what standard it is.
Yeah.
Other people clean the hall, then
Yes.
going to get to
Mm.
Yeah, just picking up on Colin's point, they should be able to give us a contract that says this is what they will do. Certainly when we employ them
Yeah.
in factories, that's exactly what they do, is they say we will do this, this and this.
Yeah, your,
They also tell us what they want to do, which is equally as
Yeah.
important.
yeah, your
Yeah.
toilet rolls, soap dispensers,
That's what I was just
clean the
saying.
floor.
Did that include
well,
the toilet rolls and stuff like that? So, will they supply that? for
Well,
that?
yes, they will, because in fact what they've asked me for is
That's
they can have a
included.
shelf in the store where they can keep some of their supplies, and that includes hand wash and rolls and stuff like that.
So that price that they've quoted,
Everything.
that's all in.
That's everything.
Yeah. Okay.
So if we ask them for a contract, then what they get, a detailed work plan, and I think they call it, and that should do us. And then at least we've got something to adjust to.
you can measure them against it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all right, yes, certainly.
Okay.
They've more or less given me that now, but it's not quite full.
Yeah, they are good.
Yes.
The people are good.
Mm.
I would imagine they'd be
These
able to pull
toilets
it out
here
of
are
the
always
drawing.
immaculate.
They should be able to pull out how they draw and give it,
Absolutely.
because they're doing it elsewhere.
Okay, so I remember saying that we do go ahead with them, but we require that they supply us with that breakdown of what it is they will be doing.
Breakdown of work.
Okay.
Breakdown of work standard.
Yeah.
And because they will need to take effect from, well, simply.
We
not
take-
owners.
Yes, I mean, we take control of the building on the 22nd of November,
Mm.
and obviously the shop won't be open until they've done their bit, but as soon as we've got control of the building, we can open the toilets, and then obviously we'll stop having to pay for the portaloo at the same time, so.
I believe they've also quoted at the shop as well. So, the whole thing really. So, it's in their interest to maintain high standards, because if they lose one, then they lose more than one. You know. But I'll certainly make sure we get something before I send the proper contract, because obviously we're going to send a contract to them, which is our council contract and order. Before I do that, I'll get from them what their specification for cleaning
So we need to add that as an addendum.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Are you proposing that, David?
Yeah.
All those in favour, we proceed on that basis? Thank you.
Now, the next thing is the budget for 25-26. Obviously, the budget this year has been, to say the least, much more involved because of having the shop as a separate budget and the build as a separate budget. And had to make sure they kept everything separate, including the VAT claims. Everything had to be divided down. So it's been a bit more challenging, but I think we've got a budget now that's a starting point for you guys to make a decision. I'll just pop into the. Just go on to the budget. I'm not sure how to fill the screen. Actually, I did play around with it to see if I can fill the screen, make it a bit bigger, but I did get it centralised. But can you all see that?
Yeah, you should be able to drag that bottom right hand corner, see
Down here, you mean?
you can see the little see the little lines to the right of that,
There.
in the corner, down a bit.
Yeah, I'm taking that down, but what I can't do is fill the
Yeah,
screen.
you just
That's
like
it, I'll grab that, it should drag, that should stretch it.
that.
So you should be able to stretch it
That's
down.
it, keep going down.
You missed it.
and you drag it and
Click
click
and
it.
drag.
That's it.
Got it.
All right. Okay. Well, so the budget. So you know, I put some notes. One thing that came out of the. Because it's been on for 2 hours. That's why.
Yeah.
Oh, let's plug it out. So mark yourselves on it while I pick this up. Pulled out the, this is pulled out of the actual. Right. Yeah, one of the things that came out of the audit group was the fact that I've just put some notes on the side. I mean, Andy, I think you said it'd be quite useful to put some little notes against each of the items on the budget. And the way this works is that on the left-hand side you've got in black, you've got the budget set for this year. In the red you've got the October figure, so that's everything that happened on our finances right up to the end of October, so it doesn't include any November payments. The forecast for the end for March 31st, the forecast is arrived at, because on another sheet there you can see I've just pulled it across for each of the months between now and March. So that's how the workings came out. And then the budget then forecast there in the blue, and then on the slightly darker red there I put in what I think to be probably the starting points for the income for the next financial year. So you can see on that we have £62,000 budget on income. I'm forecasting we'll end up at 77,693. There was some different things in there this year. We had the energy credit from the shop. The VAT is pretty accurate. Seal funding, of course, is the big one there, which is now in our reserves, but that came as an extra piece of income. And of course we've got shop rental in there as well for the period up to March. So there's a sort of seven items that comprise our income. And obviously I put there subject to setting in December meeting, so the precept obviously will change if you decide that you want to increase the precept for next year, but that will come in December, so that would obviously be changed should that happen. Obviously the energy credit shop will come out next year completely. Seal funding, don't know whether we're expecting any, I'm not aware of anything, so that's nil. Grants and donations, a bit of a stab in the dark really, because we never quite know what's coming in terms of donations or grants. I mean, we might get a grant from Nuttall Trust possibly, you know, those sort of things. And the shop rent income is an absolute accurate figure, because it's exactly what we've agreed in the lease. So at the moment, on a precept of 60,000, that's what I would expect our income to be for next year, 66,250. Any thoughts or comments on that first of all, if we go on to expenditure? So it will look sensible.
But ultimately, you're going to be looking at setting this in the December meeting. This is the sort of just background. So
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because the budget is really only one part of the precept. There's two big component parts of the precept. One is budget and the other is reserves. So we need to look at the budget first, agree on the budget, and then next time in December we can then look at the reserves that we want to set. And that may decide whether we go up or down with the precept.
Just one small comment. The document that we circulated prior to this one, we made the amendment on VAT based on invoices 1250, where we originally rounded it up to 2. So if anybody notices there is a difference, that was the meeting on Saturday discussing whether we decided to be pessimistic rather than optimistic.
Yeah, and there is a thought that VAT shouldn't even be in there actually, because VAT is actually very much relative to what we spend on VATable invoices. But councils, for some reason, we all seem to do it in councils, but you don't necessarily need to put it in there, but it does give you a guide.
Yeah.
Moving down, obviously the shop, the build rather than shop, the build is a separate sheet, so we'll come on to that in a minute. Staffing costs are pretty consistent, and one thing I talked about later on is the fact that NALC, National Association of Local Councils, and LCLC agreed on a 3.25% increase in local authority salaries for parish clerks and town clerks. And we, as part of our contract, we adhere to national pay negotiations, so it's automatic. It doesn't need approval from the council, it's an automatic part of the contract. Now, at some future point, you may not add it as an automatic part of the contract, but at the moment it is. So that's been built into that. Any comments on that? I'll take you through each section, then you can make any comments you wish to make. On the administration, this is where I suppose in a way council had less influence on the first section, because a lot of it is things like audit fees, insurance, websites,